Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So as part of today's video, we will learn about how to create a simple test case and we will slowly convert that simple test case into a framework standard test case. Okay, so let's get started. In the previous session, we have understood how to like what is exactly a framework and why we need a framework for our testing, and we also understood like how what are the different software that we need to install as part of our creating a framework, and we also install Playwright, Node.js, VS Code, and we also created a base folder structure for our test case. Okay, so for writing the test cases, and also we need to create a Playwright framework. So as part of this folder structure, so this is the folder where we'll write the test case. So I'll do one thing. I'll create a new file and I'll create a new file called as login.spec.js. Okay, so here I'll write the test case. So first, just for information, we'll use this application to create our automation framework. You can consider this as your application. Okay, so and let's get started. So first of all, I'll just capture the URL. So what is the first line that you have to write a test case? First of all, you have to import that and expect function, right? Test, comma, expect. Okay. Require inside the bracket we have to write at the rate playwright hyphen test. Okay. Next, you have to write a test case. So test will take two parameter. One is the name of the test case, that is my login test. Okay, test case. Okay, then the next it will take the parameter as the async function, and it will we have to add one arrow function over here. And this async function will take a parameter as fixture, that is a page fixture. So these all things you need to learn, otherwise don't jump to this Playwright framework. You just learn Playwright, then only you'll be able to understand what exactly I'm writing over here. Okay. So the first thing that I will write, that navigate to application. Okay. Here what I'll write, await page dot go to, and here I have to pass the URL. Okay. After that I have to write enter username and password. So here we have to write await page dot fill. So it will take two parameter. One is the CSS or XPath, and second is the value, the Gmail ID that you will pass. Okay, let's go to the application. This is my application. I'll open the dev tool and I'll see any unique attribute I can take. Yes, this is the ID which we can take as a unique attribute to create my CSS. So as I will, that is the ID, so I can use the hash ID name. Okay, then the credential is Anuj Pyprod 7@gmail.com. So this I've registered with. If you have not registered it, then you can go to uh, sign up over here. Don't have an account, register here. You can create your own details, credentials. Okay. So what is the uh, CSS of this password field? That is, this is also ID, user password. Uh, Await page dot fill in the bracket password field, comma, the password of this account is Anuj @32943. Okay, so you can write in this way. Otherwise, you can also write await page dot locator in the bracket. You can write the CSS, and after that you can write fill, and you have to give your username. Either way you can use. There is no such rule that we can only use this way. You can use in this way also to perform the same task. Okay, anything is okay. There is no There is no strict rule that you can only use this one. Okay, right. After that, what I'll need to do, click on login button. So to find the login button, again we'll do the inspect, and here any ID field is there. Yeah, login is the ID attribute. We can take it. Await page dot click await page dot click login. Okay, so this is my simple test cases. So what exactly I will do? I will convert this simple test case. Let me execute it. Okay, how to execute a test case? Npx playwright test. So it will execute because as of now it's only one test cases, so it will execute my one test cases. So if you can see, it is running three test cases. Why it is running three test cases? Because it will this test case, it will execute with three respective browser. One is in Chromium, one is in Firefox, and another is in WebKit. That is a Safari browser only. Okay. So whenever we execute this test case, it will go to playwright config.js and it will see what is the location is present for the test dir. So whatever the test case will present under this test, it will why the test case got failed. Let me check. Page dot fill user password. Okay, the password field I've done the wrong thing. Okay, so although I've used this see, the user password, we forgot to add the hash button. That's why it is got failed, and also here also we failed. So that is a CSS because you have taken the ID attribute and you have to write the ID and the hash. Okay, so Control save will again re-execute the test case. Just you have to click on the up arrow, and it will the command will get pop up which you have executed previously. Okay, so it will execute three test cases. So why it will execute the three test case? Because whenever we execute this test case, it will come to playwright and whatever the folder location that we have given under the test directory, it will execute all the test cases present in the test folder. So in our case, in test folder, this test case is present. Although we have a single test cases, but as the basic configuration is present, see here it will execute with Chromium, Firefox, and WebKit. And if you can see, it has executed three test cases. Okay, so in Chromium, in Firefox, in WebKit. Okay, so three test cases got passed. It took only 11.5 seconds. Okay. So what we'll do as part of this configuration, we'll remove everything. We remove all the unused stuff so that it will not create any extra confusion to us. Okay, so what we'll do now, I'll create, okay, so under that, I will create some basic default configuration. So what is that? So right now you saw that my test case got executed in three browsers. Okay, so I want to execute with only single browser, that is Chromium. You can take any browser, but in my case I'll take it Chromium. Then I'll write headless equal to false. What is this? I'll tell you. Uh, okay, this is not semicolon, this is a comma and screenshot only on failure. And what next, will also add some videos. Whenever my test case will get failed, it should capture all the evidence retained on failure. Okay, so what exactly I've done? So here I want my test case will execute on Chromium browser. The next one is, as we all know, that Playwright execution will always be headless by default. So I don't want to execute the command. Suppose if in future if I want to execute my npx playwright test hyphen headed. So I don't want to write this again and again to execute in headed mode. What I'll do, I'll write a headless equal to false. That means it will always execute in headed mode only. Okay. So the next one is screenshot and videos. So whenever my test case will get fail in future, or any of the test case in my framework will fail, it should capture the screenshot and videos just for the evidence. So that is the only reason why, because we have kept these two things. Okay, so that's it all about the configuration. And here, if I'll execute npx playwright test, you can see it has executed only one test case. Okay, previously it ran three test cases, but now it executed only one test case because it will execute the test case in Chromium browser. Okay, see, the test case got passed and it took some 8.2 seconds. Okay, great. So now what I'll do, this is my login page. Okay, so here, as we have implemented the page object model, so this is my login application, right? This is my application, or this page is known as login page. So what we'll do, as part of the page object model framework standard, we have to create that many number of pages in application. So if we create a login page, and I will store in the login page whatever the functionality is present inside the page, we'll create a function and we'll store in that page. And whatever the CSS or email, password, login field, forgot password link, register link, everything will store in a page, so that in future any new request will come in this page, then we'll just go to that page and do the change accordingly. So for that reason, page object model is one of the most widely used framework design pattern in QA automation, QA industry. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll in the pages folder, we'll create a new file and I will name it as a login page.js. So here I'll create a class. I'll write login page. Okay, and here what I'll do, I'll create a async function. Async function, I'll name it as a login to application, and it will take two parameters, that is username and password. Okay, now next what we'll do, we will do the same coding, that username, enter username, enter password, click. So without writing these three lines of code, what we'll do, we'll create a function and it will call that function. So every time we don't need to write the three lines of code. Okay, so let's see. So you must have observed that to perform this task we need a page instance. Okay, so if we'll pass this page instance from this particular class to login page, well, we cannot use that. Otherwise, you have to write this same line, because but we also cannot write the same code again and again, right? So what we'll do, we will carry forward this page instance from this class to the login page. Okay, so what we'll do, I'll create a constructor first. Okay, so inside the login page, I'll create a simple constructor, and inside that it will take a parameter as a page, and I will initialize that page instance. Okay, then what all we need to initialize? We have to also initialize the CSS on XPath being used inside the application. So this dot username CSS, then next this dot password CSS, because every element we have to store also, right? Password CSS, and the login button, this dot login button CSS. We have to initialize all these values. So we'll go to the login spec. I'll pick the user email first, and the next one is user password, then the login. So what we have done, we will store all the CSS on XPath which is present inside the login page. What is the login page? This is the login page. We'll store all the CSS and XPath and also whatever the functionality present inside it, like login functionality, click on the forgot password, register functionality, everything will convert these functionality into a all these actions will convert into a function in the same class. So right now we'll develop this login to application functionality. Okay, so I'll create a JavaScript doc. So I'll write what exactly this method does. This method is used to log in into the application. What is the first that we'll use? Await this dot page dot fill. It will take two parameter, right? So one is this dot username CSS and the second one is username. Whenever you call this method, you have to pass the username and password, right? So this username will go to this. Okay. The next one is await. You have to enter the password. So await this dot page dot fill, then this dot password CSS, comma. You have to pass the password also. Okay. The next is you have to click on the login button. Await this dot page dot click this dot login button CSS. Okay, so what it will do, we don't need to write the same lines again and again. We will convert this into a function so that instead of writing this three line again and again, we can call directly the function which is written over here in the login page. Okay, and next what it will do, to use this login print functionality, we have to write one line over here, that is module.exports equal to login page. So if you not write this particular line, you cannot use these functions into a different class. So you must need to write the same line. Also, and you also have some other ways around that I'll tell you later, but as of now, just remember you have to write this line. Okay. So what I'll do, to use this, I have to create a object of that this class. Okay. So first what I'll do, I'll import the login page. Okay. Import is all done. Okay. So what I'll do, I will create a object of that class. Okay. Creation of login page object. So how will do constant login page equal to new login page. In the bracket we have to pass the page instance. This page instance we have to pass so that it will initialize all the values, that is CSS and XPath, via the constructor which is present inside it. So whenever you create an object, it will come to constructor and it will initialize all the values present inside the constructor. Okay. So now using this login page, I will skip everything. I'll write login page dot login to application. And here I will write two parameters. One is the username, that is anuspycroy 7@gmail.com, and the password, that is okay. So this is what all about our test case. Okay. So why it is giving error? Let's check. We did some wrong thing. Okay, we forgot to add. Okay, we did not close our method over here. Okay, so login. So you can see and click on the and click on login button. So here you can see we did not write the three line. In same line, it will do all my lines, all my execution. We don't need to write the 3 lines of code. Okay. So next what we'll do, we'll just execute this test case once again. And it will execute, and it executed in how many seconds? 5.3 seconds it passed. Again, what we can do, we will also convert this one. Okay, so what we'll do, I'll go to the login page and I will write async. I'll create a method called navigate to application. Okay, and here I will pass, I'll not pass any parameter. Okay, what I'll do, await this dot page dot go to, uh, I'll write the URL, that is this one. Okay, so what is the JavaScript doc we have to add over here? This method will open your application to test. Okay, so I'll make a small change over here. This. Okay, so right now instead of that, we'll use this method. So await page dot go to, we'll remove it. What I'll do, I'll write await login page dot navigate. And also for the safer side, I'll also add await over here. Okay, so you can see instead of 4 lines, the same stuff has completed in 2 lines. Okay, this is the power of the creation of framework. So we'll execute the test case and it will execute one test case with one worker. It passed in 4.4 seconds. Okay. So this is all about I've created a test case and I've converted into a login page, everything I've kept under here. So in future, if at all the developer will change the CSS or XPath of any field, username field, you just need to come this page and you change this one. You don't need to change in all the test cases. So that is the beauty of this page object model framework. Okay, so that's it for today's lecture. We'll meet in the next session with some advanced topic. We'll convert this as of now. Also, we have used hardcore data. We'll also use this hardcore data from any data file. Okay, so we'll meet in the next lecture with some new topics. Okay, till then, thank you.